On this today on this Shabbat, we're talking about Yaakov's life. It's titled "And He Lived." What do you guys remember about his life? Let's name a couple of different things that he had going on in his life. Just name just a few things.
And anxiety.
Oh yeah, good stuff right there, Dr. Yared. He did. He had anxiety. He experienced anxiety in his life. He had a lot of trouble. You know, his son has betrayed him. All of his sons, just about except for one of them or two. One or two of them didn't betray him. He had a lot of anxiety. He had one who had slept with one of his wives. He been mistreated by, his father-in-law, which is his uncle. He's been, chased and wanted to be killed by his brother. He's been, overlooked. He's been taken advantage of. And you guys know the story. We've been talking about this for weeks now. And that's the beauty of the Torah, because it gives us insight about what was the life of our ancestors. What's the life of these pioneers, or what you would say the forefathers, to tell us like what we should expect to happen in our lives. Okay. So his life is one that has a lot of different challenges. And he told Pharaoh that his life was one of great difficulty, and it was hard for him. So we should expect as Yah's children that we're going to have some difficulties in our lives. And so we're not playing what you would call religious games, where we think that nothing's going to happen in our lives. Okay, let me see you guys. I got to put focus on here. There you go. So we have to be careful. We got to be careful. Why does this thing keep doing that? Sorry, you guys. I was running. Broadcast finished live. Okay, so it's about the life of Yaakov. But within his life, though, we find that it was a time when he was approaching his death. Okay, as we discussed before in the Torah, we understand that life and death are hand in hand and they go together. Okay, there's cycles. And so, the way that Hebrew people look at death is different than the way that others look at death. Others look at death as literally saying that, we're trying to do everything that we possibly can to avoid the death, right? Nobody wants to die, of course. In the book of Genesis, it talks about how, the Most High gave a command and said, if you eat from this tree, you're going to surely die. And so a lot of people have taken that to think that man wasn't going to die. That's not true. Man just didn't have the knowledge of his death. That's all he didn't have. He didn't have the knowledge about what that really looked like. It says, dying, you shall die, which the first part of that is called an infinitive absolute, which means that the Most High has already told us what is going to be, right? And so for us, we need to understand, let me see, this thing keeps going off. We need to understand that death is going to be part of our life, right? And nobody really knows how to prepare for that. But one of the things that we did see in our Torah portion this week is that Israel, along with others, they were kind of notified about their death. They were told that they were going to die. They had knowledge of it, right? So they were told that they were going to die. How did that work for them, though? You know what I'm saying? How did that work? I mean, for us, we don't even know when we're going to die, unless you get really sick and you end up in the hospital and you're like, well, I've been given the verdict that I'm going to die. So he said, rather, that when I sleep with my fathers, you are to carry me out of Egypt and bury me. Now he's talking to Yosef, his son. He called him to talk to him and let him know that I'm about to die. But when I die, which is I'm going to go to sleep with my fathers, I want you to carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they're buried. And he replied, I will do as you've said. And so he said, swear to me. And he swore to him. Then Yaakov bowed down at the head of his bed. So at this moment, he still understood that, hey, I'm going to die. He just didn't know when. Okay. So he asked him to swear to him. But let's talk a little bit about this death. all right, to give you a Hebraic understanding about what death really is. Okay. So death in Hebrew is called muth, M-U-T-H, muth. Okay. And so what does muth mean? Muth means a chaos mark. Okay. It means chaos. And what is chaos? Anybody want? What's chaos?
Darkness.
What'd you say?
Darkness.
Yeah, it's dark.
Disorder. Disorder.
It's disorder. Thank you, Qua. It's disorder. It's darkness. Okay. So the concept of chaos comes from the mem. Okay. That's where chaos is from the mem. And what is mem? What does it mean? What does it symbolize in the Hebrew language?
Water.
It's water. And so the water it's talking about is not the water in a river, it's talking about the water of the seas. And doesn't a sea go like really chaotic sometimes? Right? So it's chaotic. The next one here, this letter Tav right here is the mark, because in Hebrew, the Tav represents two sticks that are crossed with each other. Okay. And so it's really what they would call a mark. Okay. So it's literally a chaos mark. Okay. And this is something that's supposed to happen for humanity. Now, when we talk about man, what we're talking about is humankind. Okay. Humankind is going to have this experience no matter who we are. That's just what it's going to be. Okay. And so as you notice, it said that since we're going to hit this point, we're going to come to this place, right? During your life, you're going to have chaos. Right now, we're in chaos. Right now, the whole entire world is in chaos. Okay. It's just something what it is. We're not trying to avoid the understanding of what death is. Okay. If you notice, every other religion is talking about getting what? What are they going to get at the end of their death? What do they say they're going to get? What are they looking for? What do they promise you as a Christian?
Everlasting life.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody said it. So bingo, you're going to get eternal life, right? You're going to get this. And you're going to get this through the life of Christ, or you're going to get it through Muhammad, the prophet. You're going to get 70 virgins. You're going to live in heaven. You're going to get some wings. You're never going to die. So this is what they're selling. They want to get you off of this. But Yah tells us that you're like Elohim and you're going to die like mortals. You're going to die like men. That's just what it is, everyone. Yah has everything on this earth has this mark upon it, this chaos mark. Everything sees its day. Everything gets old. Even the fruits that you get from the grocery store, they get old and they die. And so we haven't been able to fully understand this because we've been taught that you want to fear this. You want to run away from it. You want to do everything you possibly can to get away from this. And this is part of the cycle of life. You guys have heard of a statement called said, hey, look, I don't want to talk. What you're talking about is a moot point. It's moot. This is where they get it from. It's a dead point. It's irrelevant. That's where they get the word moot. How do you know, Dawid? Because you got the mem right here. They use it here. And they're using the T right here. Muth. They call it moot. And this is where they get the word moot. Moot point, which means a dead point. See? So they're using the Hebrew language without us even knowing about it. That's the cold part. You don't even know that a lot of the words that are being used in Hebrew is used in the English language along with other languages. It's the mother of all language. Okay? You also get the idea of what they call checkmate from this word muth. Okay? Again, you're going to see those letters right here with the mem and the tav right here. Okay? It's right here. Like when you're playing chess and you got someone, you put them against the wall and they can't move. It's over. That's checkmate. So we get the checkmate. And what does checkmate mean? It means the king is dead. It's over. Okay? Now, Joseph is called a prince of his brothers. So what does that make Yaakov? That makes Yaakov a king. I don't have the scripture here, but you could go to, Genesis chapter number 17 and see that the Most High said there's going to be, told Abraham, our father, that you're going to have kings and royalty come out of your line. Okay. So, and then David, he's a king, and he also is mentioned in your Haftarah this week. He's actually in the point where he's going to die too. And they accept it. Okay. But that's not really what I want to focus on, though. What I want to focus on this week about our Torah portion is when he's talking about then he lived, he's living based upon something that Yah has said to him. He's been living on this principle or this idea that a lot of us are missing. And it's mentioned all throughout our Torah portion this week. Okay. It says, rather, when I sleep, because he knows he's going to go to sleep with his fathers, you are to carry me out of Egypt and bury me and there where they're buried. He replied, I will do as you have said. Okay. So Joseph says, I'll do what you said. I'll follow your command. And guess what he said? He says, swear it to me. And so he swore it to him. So then Israel bowed on at the head of his bed. So it's not something about just following the command of something. This had to be something very serious for him, because he's asking him not just that I will do it. It's not like he didn't trust Joseph that he would do it, but he wanted him to swear it to him. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Okay. I'm going to show that to you in your study today. The reason why he wanted to swear it to him is because it's used for this word called SHEVA. Okay. And SHEVA is what you would call it SHEVA. Okay. In Hebrew, that SH would be this letter shin right here. This bet will be this V right here, which is really a B. So you might hear someone called Sheba or Sheba. Okay. Like Queen of Sheba. Or Bathsheba, okay, or Sheva, meaning to swear, okay. So he's asking him to swear because this has great significance, and of course, this iron right here is represented by this, okay. So it means to swear. All throughout the scriptures is this idea of swearing, okay, and swearing goes beyond just to say something or making a promise. It actually has to do with the number 7, because it's the actual name for the word 7 is SHEVA. Okay. SHEVA. Okay. The B sound is represented by this V sound. So in Hebrew, when you have a B that's somewhere in the word, it's not considered to be a B sound, but a V sound, like SHEVA versus SHEVA is SHEVA. All right, but that's a whole nother lesson. But 7 is what you mean for an oath. 7 is what you mean to swear. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? So when I say 7, what do you think about? What comes to your mind when I say 7?
The Sabbath.
Oh boy, somebody's on it. We got the Shabbat.
Completion.
What else?
Completion.
Completion, because it's the end of the week. Thank you. What else?
Oath.
Oath. It's a promise. What else? You guys are on fire today. How many Moedims does Yah have? Moedim is appointed times. How many times where Yah says, I want to meet with you, or you celebrate? You're supposed to celebrate 7 times a year. 7 Moedims. There's 7 of them. Okay. Yah says every 7 years, I want you to release your slaves. Every 7 sevens, I want you to have a jubilee. 7 sevens, Shabbat. It's always about 7. Okay. That's Yah's number. This is what he operates off of. And so if we understand this, If we understand the 7, we understand what Yah has sworn or why he's asking us to swear, because it brings glory to Yah. Do you understand? And this is the reason why if you violate the Shabbat, you're going to have a problem, because you're breaking the oath. You're saying that what Yah has done is not complete. You see? So SHEVA is a huge part of the Torah portion, because he asked him, he said, I don't want you just, I'm going to give you the command. Don't tell me anything. I don't want you to tell me anything. I want you to swear it. Why does Yah want his people to swear things? That's the question. Remember, wisdom is the power to ask questions. Why do you think the Most High wants you to swear something?
So you're bound to it.
Thank you, Lucas. So you'll be bound to it. You see, not in our Torah portion, but in the Torah, it says you are to fear Yahweh. You're to serve him, and you are to swear. That's that SHEVA. You are to fear Yah, serve Yah, and swear by his name. Any oath that you take, you're supposed to take it. I know, Rivka, I went there. Guess what? I went on there and it's not working. You could kind of try to figure it out for me right now. I did try to go and it's not working. It won't, my screen is even frozen. Yeah. Okay. So it's to swear by his name. Yah's going to hold us to a different standard. Look, anytime that you and I are dealing with Yah, I want you to remember that you're not dealing with a human being. I want you to remember that you're dealing with the King of the universe. I want you to understand not only the awesomeness of his power, but the great responsibility that comes for us to call upon his name and to swear upon his name. Okay? Because it's the only thing by which a person can do in order to verify that it's going to be what you said is going to be. And when we swear by his name, you have to take that oath in truth. When you swear by his name, you're going to have to keep your word. Israel made some commitments to the Most High. They made some promises to the Most High. They said to him, Lisa, 4 times that we'll guard and do everything that you said. And they never did. They broke their oath to the Most High. Your word is more important to Yah than anything else, because it's based upon his word that you and I are even in a relationship with him, because he swore to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would look after their descendants after them. He swore SHEVA, what they would call a Nishba, to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov to give them a land. He swore to uplift them. He swore to heal them. He swore to bless them. He swore to multiply them. All based upon Yahweh's name. Now, I'm going to share something with you. I was a little reluctant, but I said, no, I should swear it with them. I have their lo SHEVA. That's in Hebrew. Okay, but here's something that's interesting that has been said that's attached to your, what they would call Tanakh. Okay, what they would call the Old Testament. This is in the New Testament. And this is something that's been spoken by what they would say the Savior of the world. Christ, the Son of God, who was raised from the dead. He was raised from the dead so he could give everybody that believes in him eternal life. Listen to what he said. He says, again, you have heard that our fathers were told. So he's saying that his audience is the Hebrew Israelites. Our fathers were told, do not break your oath and keep your vows to Kurios. So Kurios right here, when you look in the New Testament, this is in the book of Matthew, okay? And it's chapter number 5, verse number 33 or 32 to 35, okay? And so what he's saying here is they never use Yah's name. They're only using this word Kurios, okay? And that right there means Lord or Master, okay? Which also too in Hebrew is called Baal. Okay. That's your Lord and your master. So he's saying, he says, you heard that this has been told. He doesn't use Yahweh's name. Okay. But I tell you not to swear. I'm telling you, don't swear at all by heaven, because it is Theos' throne. He doesn't use Elohim's name. He doesn't use the Father's name. He uses the word Theos. Now, there are a lot of commentators and people in the Christian faith would say, well, he meant to say, you know who his father is, so it doesn't matter what the name is. The name that they have listed right there, everyone, is Theos, which is God. And Theos comes from the idea of there's a Greek god called Theos. Okay. And this is where you get your idea of what they would say theology. And theology is the study of Theos. That's the study of that God. So anybody that says you got you don't know your theology, that means you don't know the study of their God. Okay. Have you ever heard anything called YHWH or any of this kind of stuff? No. So these are all Greek concepts and ideas. Okay. So theology is not from the Most High. Theology is a religion. Okay. And so this person who is saying this, or someone's giving testimony, actually the book of Matthew is written by an anonymous author, so they don't really know who wrote the book. The church fathers just named it Matthew. Go do your research and find out if I'm telling you the truth or not. They don't even know who the author of this book is. So these are words that are written that millions of people or billions of people around the world are reading, and they're finding a way not to swear. They're saying, don't swear at all. Not by heaven, because it's Theos' throne, which is God, and not by the earth, because it's his footstool, not by Jerusalem, because it's the city of a great king. It sounds wonderful. It sounds very poetic. It sounds very honoring, but that's not what the Most High told us. Now, you got to ask yourself the question, why is it that the Most High says that I want you to swear by my name? Because the instructions that were given to Moshe was him telling them that when you do take an oath, you are to swear by Yahweh. You are to fear Yahweh. You are to serve him and swear by his name. They are saying no. So why? I got the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer. The Most High had asked a question, how long will this go on? Right? In the book of Jeremiah, and for your records, you can look at it. It's in chapter number 23. And I think it's in verse number 20. He says, is my 20 and 20. Yeah. How long will this go on? Is my word in the hearts of the prophets who are prophesying lies, or who are prophesying deceit of their own minds? So the individual that wrote the book of Matthew is telling people, not just Israel, telling people that they shouldn't swear by Yah's name, meaning they should not make a promise. And of course, if you continue to read on in that book, it says, because you don't know how many hairs you got on your head, you can't turn your hair from white to black, you can't do this, you can't do this. So since you don't have any power, then you can't do that. But that's not what Yah said. Okay. So these are lies and these are deceits that are being given to people throughout the world in order for them to listen, because there's a purpose behind you not swearing. He says, with their dreams, they keep telling each other, they hope to cause my people to forget my name. That's the reason why they don't want you to swear, because you're going to forget his name. Just as their ancestors forgot my name when they worship Baal, when they worship the Lord. And this is way before Christianity. So Christianity is nothing but an extension of Baal worship. The reason why they want you to worship Christ or this guy here is because when you call on this name, this is the name that you're supposed to pray in. This is the name that you're supposed to go to the Father in. This is the name that you're supposed to receive healing. This is the name. That's the one who's now become your Lord. And you're thinking that that's new, that you think it's a New Testament? No, it's not a New Testament. It's the worship of Baal. And the reason why they want you to get you off of Yah's name and to forget his name is so you can call on the name of another God. The moment that you forget Yahweh's name is the moment that you'll call on another God. This is the reason why in the New Testament is mentioned Yah's name is mentioned 0 times. I ask Christians all the time, where is his name? Where did Christ ever mention the name of Yah? Oh, he doesn't need to. He is Yah. What about the apostles? What about the disciples? What about all the letters from Peter, James, John, Timothy, Titus, all of them? 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, book of Revelation. Where is it? You won't find Yah's name at all. Well, they did mention hallelujah in the book of Revelation. His name is there. No, that's a contraction and that's a praise. That's all that is. It's not saying thus said Yah. Paul didn't teach about Yah. Peter never taught about Yah. James never taught about Yah. Christ never taught about Yah. You and I would have never known Yah's name because they're on us to forget about Yah. Because if you forget about Yah, you'll forget about the oath and you'll forget about what Yahweh has promised. You're not the only one who's supposed to swear by Yahweh's name. Yah has sworn by his own name. He swore to our ancestors, I'm going to give you this land. He swore to our father, I'm going to make your descendants as numerous as the stars of the sky and the sand of the sea, and as numerous as the dirt that's on the face of the earth. You won't be able to count them. He swore that he would be our Elohim for all time. They want you to forget about Yah. It's not only the Christians that want you to forget about Yah. The Jewish people want you to forget about Yah. Go to any one of their writings and you will never see the name of Yahweh. You will never see his name. Why? Because they've disguised it and said, well, it's too holy to be called upon, but his name is mentioned 6,828 times in the Tanakh. You don't think he wanted his name to be mentioned? All because these Jews and these rabbis came on the scene and decided to hijack our culture. Now all of a sudden you're not supposed to say Yah's name. Who are you supposed to call on when you're in trouble? Who are you supposed to call on when you're giving praise? You would never know it. This is when you were a Christian, did they tell you about Yah's name? No. Did you ever get a pamphlet in the mail that told you about Yah's name? No. Did your pastor tell you? Did the rabbis tell you? Who told you? Who revealed the name of Yah to you? You know who revealed it? Yah did. I'm pretty sure when you came into this truth, you start doing your research and you found out that, wait a minute, he has a name? Yah has a character? Yah tells the children of Israel, this is my name forever. It's an everlasting name, and it's supposed to be said, but it's the way that you say it. You're supposed to say it in truth. You shouldn't call on Yah's name if it ain't in truth. You shouldn't swear by his name if you ain't gonna say nothing is true. You shouldn't call on Yah's name if you're not living by Yah's laws. You shouldn't call on his name if you don't understand his mishpatim, his kukim, and his Torah. If you're not going to honor it, you better keep your mouth closed, because he tells us in the covenant that you should never take my name as la Shewa, meaning saying that something about me is false, saying that something that I did is not true. You're saying that I forgive sins when all you got to do is believe that somebody died when I told you that nobody can die for your sins? That's false. You just said something false about me. You said that I'm going to give you eternal life. That's false. I never promised you eternal life. That's false. You telling me that I could disrespect my mother and father and I'm going to be forgiven? No. According to the Torah, that person's going to be put to death by who? By Yah. This is not easy listening. This is what it is. You ask yourself, why did he use this art form that he have here? Why is he using this very majestic looking picture? I want you to get the idea behind Yah. I've never been into the heavens of the Most High. I can just imagine. We've had some descriptions in the book of Ezekiel that talks about this magnificence of Yah, this majesty of Yah that you see in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 6, where he says, when I saw him, when I saw the glory of him, I just bowed down and said, woe is me, I'm a man of unclean lips. I saw his train, I saw the temple, I saw the Malachim crying out, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. You understand who we're dealing with? They're trying to get you to forget about Yah. They don't want you to swear by nothing, because that means you get to live by the way that you want to live. You could do what you want to do, and you think you ain't going to be held accountable. Yah says, if a prophet has a dream, let him tell it as a dream. But if someone has my word, who has my word, should speak my word faithfully. What do chaff and wheat have in common? Asked Yahweh. Chaff, no benefit. Wheat, beneficial. You see? So it's about us having this relationship with the Most High based upon what he said. We have to be careful on what we say. And when we do speak Yah's words, we have to say it faithfully. I'm not creating new passages to get you off of Yah. Well, you know, I know that you heard that it's been said, but I say unto you. That should have been your first clue that this person is not from the Most High. Yah would never send nobody to say, I know that you heard what's been said to our fathers, but I say unto you. He should have said, this is what thus saith YHWH. He didn't say that. So therefore, he's disqualified as a prophet. He's disqualified as God. He's disqualified. And I'm not just talking to people here that's on this class. I'm talking to people that's going to listen to this message on YouTube. Remember, we have an audience out there that needs to understand the difference between what they would call the old, which is not true, which is the Tanakh, and what they would call the New Testament, which is not true. It's not true at all. It's another testament. You get it? It's another testimony. It's something that Yah did not say. This is something that they want the Gentiles to get so they can continue to kill you, oppress you, rob and steal and rape you, and continue to be the filthiest people on the face of this earth. Okay? We have two concepts here that we found in our Torah this week. Number one was SHEVA, which is the 7 and the oath. And on your left-hand side, you're going to see a word called Zawa. Zawa is literally what they would say the command. One is Sheva, and the other one is Zawa. Shewa right here is where Yaakov had told his son, hey, listen, I've given you a command, but I don't need you to say that you're just going to do it. I want you to swear it to me. Just like how Eleazar swore to Abraham. Azar was told, I need you to put your right hand underneath my thigh, and I need you to swear to me, okay, that you're going to do this. And he said, well, if I swear it, I'm making a promise to you. I'm making an oath. I'm making a covenant with you. So yeah, I'll do what you're saying. Okay. So it's a lot stronger. Okay. Then we also see in our Torah portion, or our Haftarah, where David came to a time of him dying, and he commissions Shlomo, his son, as follows, right? So this is paralleling on the Torah portion where Joseph goes to Yaakov, and here Shlomo goes to David. Yaakov asks Yosef to swear, and here David is just giving a command to Shlomo. Okay, and he's saying, listen, I'm going the way of all the earth. So he understood it too. He wasn't afraid of dying. Neither was Yaakov. Neither one of these men were afraid of dying. Okay, they understood what it is, and those stories are there for us to understand. And you can find this in 1 Kings chapter number 2. You can understand the reason why these stories are there is because it's supposed to give us some type of understanding to be more accepted or more acceptable of what death has to offer, okay, that is going to come to us. And we have to be okay with what Yah is talking about, okay? And so therefore he says, be strong and show yourself as a man. He's not telling him I'm going to get eternal life. He's saying, look, I'm going away to all my fathers. I'm going to go to sleep, okay? Shawah here also is, like I told you, where the Most High is doing the swearing, okay? And there's a reason why Yaakov wanted Yosef to swear. And the reason is because Yahweh appeared to him and said, don't go down into Egypt. Okay, excuse me. This is not for Yaakov. This is for Yitzchak. Okay, so, but they're still connected to Yaakov. And let me explain. Yahweh appeared to him, talking about Yitzchak, and said to him, don't go down into Egypt. Okay, but live where I tell you, stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you, because I will give you all these lands to you and your descendants. I will fulfill the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. This is found in the book of Genesis, chapter number 26, verses 1-3, where the Most High appeared to Yitzchak. And Yitzchak, there was a famine in the land. He was thinking about moving and going down to Mitzrayim. And the Most High said, no, don't go there. You stay right here. Okay. So he swore something to your fathers, but you can see Yah's hand on Yitzchak telling him, hey, I swear this to your fathers, stay right here. So he's telling him right now, don't go down to Egypt. I don't want you to go. Not right now. Don't go. You're not going to go down. Okay. But this is where you're going to live where I tell you. You're going to follow the command that I gave you. And why? Because I swore. I made an oath with your father. I swore something to your father. So therefore, if you keep the command, then I will be able to bring forth what I'm saying. You understand? Yah's letting us know, if you keep the command I'm telling you, what you're doing is you're supporting what I swore to your father. That's what you and I are supposed to look in this Torah portion, okay? Now check this out. This is for Yitzchak, okay? Now listen to this. Now, just about a week ago, we found out that Israel took everything he owned with him on his journey. He arrived at SHEVA and offered sacrifices to Elohim of his father Yitzchak. This is him on his way down to Egypt, okay? But where did he stop? Where did he make a pit stop before he went down to Egypt? Because Yah told him to go down there. He went to Beersheba. And what is Sheva? We went over it with Sheva. He went to the place of the oath. He went to the place of the swearing. This is where he made his sacrifices. Be'er is what they call a well. And this is the well of 7. The reason why it's a well of 7 is because when his father went there, Yitzchak, and also to Abraham, they're the ones who dug this well. And when they had this well, they had 7 lambs that they had with them. And he made a covenant with Abimelech that said, hey, he said, how do you know that I dug this well? He said, I dealt this well, and we're making a covenant today. So we're going to use 7 lambs to prove that it's my well, right? So he gave an oath of 7. Therefore, this Beersheba has great significance because that's where Most High was meeting with Yitzchak. This is where he was meeting with Abraham. This is where he was meeting with Yaakov. So here Yaakov, what they would call Yisrael, was going down to this well, okay, before he went down to Mitzrayim. So he's going to the place of the oath, okay? So Beersheba, you can see it right there, the well of 7, the well of swearing, the well of oath. He went there before he went down into Mitzrayim. He says, in a vision at night, Elohim called to Israel, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he answered, here I am. And he said, I am El, the Elohim of your father. Don't be afraid to go down to Egypt, right? It is there that I will make you into a great nation. So the Most High is making the distinction between when he told Yitzchak, don't go down into Egypt. You see? Don't go down in Egypt. I don't want you to go down there. You don't go, okay? But then later on, we see the Most High telling his son that you're going to go down there. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go down there with you. Don't be afraid, okay? Little side note right quick to let you know, when the Most High says that he calls him Israel, and then all of a sudden say Yaakov, Yaakov. When you talk about Yaakov, you're talking about the one who's oppressed. This is the one who has all the challenges. Israel is the one who's not oppressed. This is the one who prevails. Okay? So we can't get the two mixed up. Okay? One is about oppression and being mistreated, and the other one is about prevailing and taking over and being a leader. Okay? So when the Most High, when he's looking at the one who prevails, he still understands that when he says Yaakov, Yaakov, he's talking about the ones that are going to be oppressed. I'm going to send you down to Mitzrayim. Don't be afraid when you go down there, because I'm going to make you into a great nation, which you and I know that when he's talking here, he's not just talking to Yaakov himself, he's talking to all of his descendants, because they're going to be the great nation that he says is there, that I will make you, Yaakov, into a great nation. Okay, because they went in with 70 and they left out as numerous as the stars. But all this is based upon obedience and going and doing what Yah says. So in order for you to keep the oath, okay? He says, not only I will go down with you to Egypt, but I will also bring you back here again after Yosef has closed your eyes. That was a promise. That was something, that was a SHEVA. He swore that to him, okay? And based upon that, decisions were made, and that's why he went there, okay? Yaakov said to Yosef in our Torah portion, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. Okay, so here's another location where the Most High has shown up. And this one is called Luz. But we know that Luz is really, they renamed it, calling Bethel, the house of El. He appeared to me in the land of Canaan, saying, I will make you fruitful and numerous. Okay, and I will make of you a group of peoples, and I will give this land to your descendants to possess forever. That is what they call a SHEVA. That is a promise that the Most High has made, an oath. So we see that when the Most High is asking us to be careful when you guys, swear something, swear by my name, because everything is based upon my name. Your existence is based upon my name. I raised my hand to say that I'm going to scatter you. You were scattered. I raised my hand to swear that I was going to destroy you in the wilderness. I did. I rose my hand to say I'm not going to destroy all of you in the wilderness. I SHEVA that. I swear that I'm going to come and get you. I SHEVA that. I swear that I'm going to make you fruitful and multiply. I SHEVA that. Okay. So all this is happening because of the Most High. In your Torah portion, you found out that the Most High is going to use Israel to go and adopt Joseph's sons, okay? This is the first time it's ever really truly mentioned in the scriptures. Adoption is never talked about in the scriptures, but it's here. It's been here the whole entire time. He says, now your two sons, which were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be as much as mine as Reuben and Shimon are. Let me stop right there and explain to you why, okay? The Most High wanted him to take these two sons, okay, in not to replace them, okay, but to stand in their place. I want you to stand in their place. Somebody tell me, why does he want these two sons to stand in this place of these two sons? He's not replacing them. They're just going to stand in their place. Why? Why does he want to adopt these two sons? What did Reuben do to his father?
Reuben, if I understood you correctly, slept with his father's concubine.
Yes, he did. Thank you. Thank you. He slept with his concubine. Guess what? Shimon, when they went down to Egypt and Joseph took them as prisoners, who did he hold for a long time, longer than all of them? He held Shimon. Okay. Shimon is never mentioned in the blessings that were given by Moshe. Never. Deuteronomy chapter number 33. He's never mentioned. Yah never put a blessing on him. This in particular son right here was the one that we talked about earlier, I think last year, where we talked about more people from his family line died in the wilderness than anybody else. He had the highest percentage of what you would call rebellion and disrespect towards the Most High. He's never mentioned, okay? So these are, and we're going to talk a little bit more about them in a second, but Yah has adopted these two in particular ones into the family of Israel, and he's using Yaakov to do so, okay? And I'll give you a little bit more information now. He said, the children that are born to you after them will be yours. So we understand too, that there's possible other sons that were born to Yosef besides Ephraim and Manasseh. He also had other children, okay? They never mention them. For whatever reason, I don't know. Okay, it says for the purposes of their inheritance, they are to be counted with their older brothers. So I'm going to adopt these two sons into my family, okay? Because I need them to stand in the place of these two people that have been causing problems, okay? Then he blessed Joseph, okay? And he said, the power in whose presence my fathers Abraham, Isaac lived, the power in whose, who has been my own shepherd all my life to this day. He's talking about Yah. This is the reason why they call it YHWH, and he lived, because the idea of his life has been Yah being his shepherd. His whole life, Yah has been shepherding him. What we can understand from this is that even though we're being shepherded by Yah, doesn't mean that you and I are not going to go into the stress. You don't act like there ain't going to be any wolves. Okay? Don't act like there's never going to be a problem. Don't act like you're never going to have a storm. Don't act like you're never going to fall. Don't act like you're never going to be fearful. Don't get out of that and understand that your life is going to have some difficulties and going to have some challenges. Okay? I said last week, I talked about how we need to be aware of what's going on around us. And there's certain people that are around us. Let me ask you something. As a sheep of Yah, should you be hanging out with wolves? Huh?
No.
No. What's going to happen to a sheep that made friends with a wolf?
Will be killed.
You're going to be killed, people. If you're going to make friends and you're going to go pet a poisonous snake, you can't be mad because it turned around and it struck you. Okay? And you died. Most High is making it very, very clear to us. Okay? You can't hang out with a wild boar. They don't supposed to be around sheep. You can't hang around with wolves. Okay? You can't make friends with those who are predators. Okay? You're different. And you have to understand that. But what he's saying here is Yah's my shepherd. But he says, I'm doing this in the power. The power is Yah. That's Elohim. He's the power. He's blessing in the power of Yah. He's swearing in the name of Yah. Okay? And he says, the Malach who has rescued me from all harm, meaning Yah's not a Malach. Yah has a Malach. The Malach that wrestled with Yaakov is the one that he's calling on right now, because this Malach who rescued me from all my harm is the same one that he wrestled with, because he's the one that blessed Yaakov. He's asking him to bless these boys now. You know, you're going to need something from Yah. You can't do it on your own. You're going to need the power of Yah. You're going to need Yah to shepherd you. You're going to need that. Okay? And I don't know if you and I understand this, but Yah has appointed a Malach over each and every last one of us. This is in the writings. Okay? That there's Malachs that led the children of Israel out through the wilderness. There's a Malach who did this, and it's in chapter number 23 of Exodus. Okay? There's Malachs who Yah has assigned to us. There's Malachs that have been with you since the day you were born. You don't see them, but they're around. They're protecting you. Okay? So here's the deal. He says, may they remember who I am and what I stand for. And likewise, my fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, who they were. I want you to know who they were, and I want you to know what they stood for. Okay? I'm going to stop right here for a second. If you and I don't understand the seven, and we don't understand the SHEVA, okay? You don't understand the oath, then you're not going to understand Abraham, and you're not going to understand Yitzchak, and for sure you ain't going to understand Yaakov. What does he mean? I want you to understand what I stood for. What did they stand for? What did these men stand for? Somebody tell me right quick. What did Abraham stand for? What did Yitzchak stand for? And what does he want Ephraim and Manasseh to stand for? What are they supposed to stand for?
Righteousness.
Righteousness. Did Abraham do what Yah tell him to do?
Yes.
Yes. So did Yaakov. So did Yitzchak. They all had a relationship with Yah based upon this idea of SHEVA, upon an oath. They had respect for the oath. They had respect for Yahweh's name. They had respect for what Yahweh wanted them to do. They had respect for Yahweh's instructions. They had respect for Yah's promise. Every move that they made was contingent upon the SHEVA. It's based upon the promise. They were living for the promise. And you and I should find solstice in this. We should find some joy and happiness in the understanding that you and I should live for the promise. I want you to live for the promise that Yah has made to my fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I want you to live the way they lived. I want you to stand up for what they stood up for. They stood up for those who were down. They stood up for the stranger. They stood up for the fatherless. They stood up for those who needed help. What did Abraham do? He went and fought and he defeated 5. He destroyed 5 kings and brought all those people back, gave them everything that they were taken away from them. He didn't become rich off of them. He didn't take advantage of anybody. What did Yitzchak stand for? What did he stand up for? Remember Yitzchak, when he went to Avimelech and he was staying in their land, that he became very, very prosperous. And what he was doing was going back and trying to redig the wells that his father had dug, that the Philistines had filled up with dirt. He was still carrying on the promise. That's why the Most High told him, don't go to Egypt, stay in this land. Do what I'm telling you to do. Okay? And may they grow into a team, into multitudes. Okay? Talking about Manasseh and Ephraim. I want them to grow into this so they can remember these things. I want them to grow. Okay? Interesting enough, I don't want you to forget that he wants them to grow into teeming multitudes on the earth. Not in Israel. Now, this is going to mess a lot of people up, but I want to tell you something. When Yaakov is talking about these 2 boys that he just adopted, he understood something. When he blessed these 2 sons that he just adopted into his family, he understood something. He understood that their whole purpose of coming into his family was to grow into multitudes on the earth. Israel is not just what I would call black people. Do not buy into the idea that Israel is only black people. It's not. Manasseh and Ephraim are going to grow into teeming multitudes on the earth, not in the land of Canaan. You see, Israel, more specifically, Ephraim and Manasseh, have been spread out to the 4 corners of the earth prior to Yehuda leaving the land. Ephraim and Manasseh could very well be part of these other countries, and they are. And that's based on a promise. Okay? For I have made myself known to him. Now we're talking about Abraham. This is what he stood for. I have made myself known to him so that he would give orders to his children. That's what he stood for. That he gave SHABBAT. He gave commandments to his children and to his household after him to keep the way of Yahweh and to do what is right and just. That's their righteousness that you talked about. So that Yahweh might bring about for Abraham what he has sworn to him, has promised him, has SHEVA him. So you need commands to go with the promise. This is the only reason why he has made himself known to him, so that he would give his children orders, so that you could get the promise, the SHEVA. You could get the 7. You could get the Shabbat. You could get the Moedims. You could get the time of release. You could get the Shemitah. You could get it all. You could get the Jubilees. You cannot have the SHEVA without the tzavah. You cannot have the tzavah without the SHEVA. You need both of them. That's the reason why the Most High has made himself known to our father Abraham. And therefore, that's what he stood for. He stood for the knowledge of Yah, to guard the ways of the Most High. All this is because Abraham heeded. He guarded what I said, and he did what I told him to do, and he followed my mitzvot, my regulations, and my teachings. And in the Hebrew, it is akwev, which is the root of Jacob's name. I shared it as Shema. He had listened. Don't get scared when you see all these different Hebrew words right here. Oh gosh, we don't know what it is. Shema. You know what Shema is. Somebody tell me what Shema means.
Here.
To hear or to listen. And which means to what, Dr. Yared?
Obey.
Hey,
There you go. Obey. Because which he obeyed and he listened, who? Abraham, to ba with my voice. Holy is my voice. And then he did something else. What did he do? And he shamor. What is shamor? What is shamor or shamar? What is shamar?
oh, guard.
He guarded. Thank you, Lucas. He guarded, past tense, my mishmarti. And I'm going to tell you what mishmarti is. You can see with even in the same word, shamar and mishmarti have the same root, which is shin, mim, and aresh. So that has to do with guardianship too. What? My mitzvothai and my kukothai and my waithorathai. So people who tell you that Abraham did not keep Yah's Torah don't know what they're talking about. He did not keep my commandments. They don't know what they're talking about. He did not keep my decrees. They don't know what they're talking about. Did Abraham keep the Shabbat?
Yes.
Yes, he did. Did Abraham eat clean foods?
Yes.
Yes, he did. Don't you fall for the theology and the Christianity and these religions that tell you, well, it's not written right there, so it didn't say that he kept it. It said that he kept all my commandments, my kukothai, and my thorathai. Okay, the kukothai includes the Shabbat, because the Shabbat is a kukothai. It's a decree, people. You understand? My commandments are don't eat unclean foods. Did he do it? Yes, he did. So what is this mishmarti? What is this? It says shamar in it, but what is it? It's this word called mishmereth. 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 And you can see right within the word itself has your word shamar. And shamar, as Lucas has said, means to guard. So your father and his sons all guarded what I said. So if you're going to tell Ephraim and Manasseh what I stood for, our fathers were guardians of what Yah has said. So in all everything that happened for the SHEVA, for the promise and the oath, is based upon Mishmareth. Okay, that's why the commandments are part of it, because I need you to guard what I'm saying. Why? Because you're appointed to guard what I said. Out of all peoples on the face of the earth, I have appointed you as a family to guard what I said. Appointed to the Shabbat. And if somebody wants to join you, great. Don't go in a restaurant and telling these heathens that you're eating unclean. Y'all just saw you eat a rat on live on Facebook or Twitter. So you're unclean. Yes, they're unclean. They're supposed to eat rats. They're supposed to eat mice. They're supposed to eat bats. They're supposed to eat all this stuff because they're the unclean ones. You're not. You're appointed to this because this is the way you're supposed to function. This is the way you're supposed to operate. You understand? How do I want you to function? In a place of guardianship. I want you to guard what I said. I want you to guard my commandments. I want you to guard my kukothai, my decrees, because I'm the king of the universe, and I've appointed you and your family to do this, to guard it. Okay? Why? Because I put it in your custody. You're not just guarding something to be guarding, just standing around. It's in your custody. Therefore, I'm going to hold you responsible for that which you have custody over. You have legal custody of the words of the living Elohim. If that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does. You have custody over Yah's stuff. You have custody over Yah's treasures. Yah has given you custody over his words, custody of his moedims, custody of his diet, custody of what Yah's talking about. That's what's been put in your hands, Israel. Why? Because if you have this mishmereth, you are supposed to have an idea or a mindset of superiority. You cannot guard this if you don't think it's worthy of being guarded. You're supposed to have a superior type of mindset. This ain't nothing to nobody. You're not guarding something for somebody at your job. You're not guarding something from some toy store. You're guarding something from the Elohim of Elohims. The one who's made the clouds and the sky and the sun and the moon and the stars, and they dance when he tells them to dance. They move. They get agitated when he shows up. The earth shakes when he shows up. That's why you need to have superiority in your mind. If you're going to be this mishmereth, like your father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they were strangers in a land that wasn't theirs. But still, they have to operate with this arrogance of superiority because they're supposed to be better than everyone else. Why? Because the intent is for you to influence others. It's for you to sway people to say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be treating people this way. Maybe, you know what, I see that you have so much, going on in your life, but yet you look like you don't have too much, you have problems, but they're not overwhelming you. You're not driven to drugs and alcohol. Your marriages are not tore up. Your kids are doing well in school. Everything is organized. You're calm. What's going on? What are these differences in your life that I can see? It's influence. This is what Yah's intention is to influence others by what he has said. And you can do that in your life. Again, we talked earlier about the SHEVA. Now we're going to get briefly about what David had told his son. This is what he told. He says, observe the charge of Yahweh, your power, and go in his way and keep his regulations, his mitzvot, his rulings, and his instructions in accordance to what is written in the Torah of Moshe, so that you will succeed in all that you do and wherever you go. This is what David told his son Shalomo. That's that mishmareth. That's that guard the charge of Yah. That's the command. It goes hand in hand, you see. So the command is to guard. That's the command. To guard what? The charge, which is what? The mishmereth. Is to guard the custody. Is to guard the function. Is to guard what Abraham guarded, what Yitzchak guarded, what Yaakov are guarding. You understand? And then you and I have been given this function to hold on to what Yah has given to us. And so this is what we're supposed to do. And you say, well, Yaakov and them wasn't given the Torah of Moshe. No, they weren't. But they were given the instructions of Yah, which goes hand in hand with the Torah of Moshe. That's the charge. And that's given to Shalomo, which is a king of Yisrael, from who is father, a king of Yisrael. Why? Because we're a family of nobility. The Torah of Moshe is what's giving us that nobility that Yah has given to him. That's what's going to tell you your charge. That's what's going to let you know what your responsibilities are. We talked earlier about Israel adopting Ephraim and Manasseh into his family for the purposes of inheritance. Yah is the bigger, most powerful one of adoption. Yah is the inventor of adoption. Yah cares more about those who don't have the people in their lives that they need, like the widow, the stranger, and the fatherless. Yahweh, your power, is the power of powers. He's the master of masters, the great and mighty and awesome power, who has no favorites and accepts no bribes. He secures justice for the orphan and the widow, and he loves the foreigner, giving him food and clothing. Why? Why? Because this is a mishmareth. This is the duty and the responsibility. The reason why the Most High is telling us this about how he feels about the orphan, the widow, and the foreigner is because this is the charge that's given to the children of Israel. And the reason why he wants to give it to the children of Israel is because he's saying that you are to love the foreigner since you were foreigners. I'm not going to tell you to do something that you haven't had no experience in doing. I actually brought you to the land of Egypt so you could become a foreigner, and so you could go through oppression, so you could be tortured, so you could be killed, so you could be mistreated, so you could be robbed, so you can be overlooked. And so all these different things can happen. So when I bring you out of this, you'll know, like, I shouldn't do this to other people, because now you have actual visual experience. You have what they would call visual observation. You have knowledge of what it feels like. So Yah brought them there in order for them to become foreigners. He brought them there in order to grow them, but for them to become foreigners, though. You are to fear Yahweh, your power, and serve him and cling to him and swear by his name. Again, you see that idea in somewhere totally different where he tells us that you are to swear by his name. That's that SHEVA right there. That's the clinging to Yah. That's the serving Yah. You serve Yah by doing the mishmareth. You serve Yahweh by shamaring, guarding who? I want you to guard the foreigner. I want you to guard the widow. I want you to guard the fatherless. I want you to guard them, because if you guard them, then there's a blessing for you, because you're being like me. I've become the father to those who don't have fathers. I've become the husband to the wife who doesn't have a husband. I've become the security for those who are foreigners. I've become the friend and the one who I've taken into custody. So when we talk about custody, we talk about this mishmareth. We're talking about how Yah has taken the orphan, the widow, and the foreigner and has brought them into his custody. They're his mishmareth. They're his duty. They're his responsibility. And because they're on the earth, Yah has given that mishmareth to us to guard them like he has, because he's adopted them into his family. Okay. You must neither wrong nor oppress a foreigner living among you. For you yourselves were foreigners in the land of Egypt. You are not to abuse any widow or foreigner. I got some things to tell you here, okay? If you do abuse them in any way and they cry out to me, I will certainly heed their cry, meaning I'm going to shema. I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to respond. And the way that I'm going to respond is I'm going to kill you, okay? This is from Yah. I'm going to kill you because of the mishmareth. I'm going to kill you because they're in my custody, and I put them in your custody. And now that they're in your custody, if you mistreat them in any type of way, okay, and you take advantage of them in any type of way, and they call out to me, my anger will burn and I will kill you with the sword. That's a promise, okay? That's part of the mishmareth, because you didn't guard what's in your custody. Your own wives will be widows and your own children will be fatherless, because now I'm going to give you what you gave them, because I'm just and I'm whole. So, right? I love the widow and I love the fatherless. You don't. You don't guard them, I'm killing you. And then after I kill you, I'm going to make your wives widows and I'm going to make your children fatherless. And then after that happens, then your children and your wives are now going to become underneath my custody. And now they're going to become under my care. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to make them dependent upon me, because you have neglected your duty to look out for them. That's the promise from Yah. So this is the reason why the Christians and the Hebristians and the rest of these people and all these other religions don't want you to read what Yah wrote, because Yah is telling you, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do this to you for them, because they're somebody that I care about, okay? For this community, there will be the same law for you as the foreigner living with you. This is a permanent regulation through all your generations. The foreigner is to be treated the same way before the same Torah. And standard of judgment will apply to both you and the foreigner living with you. That's the Torah. That is the call. That is the duty. That is the mishmareth. That's what's in your custody. Okay? That's what you and I are supposed to be guarding. So the foreigner, they're adopted into the family of the Most High. Okay? Now, here's a command for the foreigner. A foreigner joining Yahweh should not say, Yahweh will separate me from his people. If you ever say something like this, that's against the mishmareth of Yah. Okay? Yah has told us through the Torah, when you say that Yah will separate me from his people, what you're saying is that I don't love you. When I told my children that they're to love you, because I love you. I love you. For therefore you are to love the foreigners, since you were foreigners in the land, and your power and clean them and swear by his name. Why? Because Yahweh loves the foreigner. Yahweh loves the foreigner. He loves the foreigner. So foreigner, don't you ever say that I don't love you. Don't you ever say that I don't have the power to give you food. Don't you ever say that I won't clothe you. These are the very things that Yaakov asked me for. What he asked me for when he was down there in Bethel and I appeared to him, he said, just as long as you give me food and you give me clothing, you'll be my Elohim. Our Elohim is not a respecter of persons. Our Elohim loves those who love him. You see, Yah wants to take a foreigner into his custody. He wants to adopt a foreigner into his family. Because the same judgment applies. The same Torah applies. And the foreigners who join themselves to Yahweh, to what? To serve him. Just like the children of Israel. You don't serve Israel, foreigner. You serve Yahweh. Now, here's something interesting. Christianity bases its whole theology on the fact that you are what they would call goyim. And that Christ came so he can make the goyim connected to the Most High, the nations. And he's going to adopt them into his family through Christ. You've been adopted by Christ into the family of God. You who were not a people now are a people. No, that's not true. That's not true. Yah has been adopting the foreigner into his family from the days of Abraham. Yah has been adopting people into his way of life. And so what it is even for the foreigners, they don't want you guys to know, those who are listening, they don't want you to know that Yahweh wants you to be his people. He wants you to cling unto him. He wants you to serve him too. He wants you to love his name. That's what he wants. Yah's open to anybody that wants to come and serve him and love him and to join themselves to him. And also, too, not just to love him and to serve him and do a lip service, but also want the foreigner to understand that he's come to do something too, to be my workers. What work? In the priesthood? No. No. I want him to keep and her to keep the Shabbat. And don't profane it, like I told the children of Israel. If you're going to be part of the family, because that's what foreigners are going to be now, I'm going to bring you to the family for you to keep the Shabbat. I'm going to bring you so you can hold fast to my covenant. You're going to have to do exactly the same thing. You're underneath my house and my rules and my sons and my daughters. Don't say that I've separated you, because I haven't. I brought you in. Why? Because I have intention for you. What's my intention? My intention is to bring them to my holy mountain and to make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings, talking about the foreigner, and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house will be called a house of prayer for all peoples. Supreme Master Yahweh says, he who gathers Israel's exiles, there are yet others I will gather besides those gathered already. So, those who are watching, those who are following the faith of Christianity to say there won't be any more offerings, that's a lie. There's not going to be any sacrifices, that's a lie. That you can't come to Yah's house, and guess what? It's just, and those who are Christians and these people out here on the street corners that's saying that the foreigners are going to be are your slaves, that's a lie. Those are all lies. Yah's house will be a house of prayer. Prayer here is supplication. Yah wants to hear the needs of the people. Forgive my writing. It's not me, it's the internet. Supplication. Within that word, supplication, you have your word supply. This is the reason why Yah wants the people to call upon him. Prayer is used for supplication. Yah wants to meet the needs of the people. Okay? And once he makes those needs, they're going to be joyful in his house. After he meets those needs, they're going to bring him a burnt offering. They're going to bring him a sacrifice. How could they do that unless Yah is the one who's giving it to him? He's letting them know that I'll supply all your needs. So for all of the foreigners out who's listening live on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, understand, our Elohim is the Elohim of all peoples. And our Elohim is the one who loves the foreigner like he loved the children of Israel in the land of Mizraim. Our Elohim is an Elohim who wants to bring you into his family. He wants to adopt you. You don't have to go and have somebody die for your sins in order to bring you into the children of Israel's inheritance. You don't. What you need to do is this. You need to keep the Shabbat. You need to serve Yahweh, to love his name. Don't call on the name of another Elohim. And to keep his Shabbat means to keep your hand from doing anything to profane it, like work, or having someone work for you, or going out to a restaurant where other people are working. They're supposed to be resting, but you're not. You're putting them to work, so you're violating the Shabbat. Hold fast to what Yah says, and you can be his people. In closing, I want to talk about Hebrew names. Somebody tell me, what does Hebrew name mean? What does a name mean in Hebrew?
Character.
It's your character. Yah is concerned with our character. The Torah portion this week, a couple of names were mentioned. Ephraim. Ephraim's name means to be fruitful. That's what his name means. The first letter is what?
Aleph.
Aleph. What's Aleph mean? Somebody tell the group. What's Aleph mean? The letter that's highlighted green. What does it mean from an agricultural standpoint?
Strength.
It's an ox, and it means strength. Okay, and it means strength. All right. All right. So the ox is used to use work, and they're very strong. They're an animal that can be tamed to do work. Okay, to follow the line and to be led by its master, which is YHWH. Okay. Clear this out faster. I gotta go quicker for you guys. That's the first part of his letter of his name, showing you the significance. Next letter is what?
E.
It's a P, which is letter P in English. Has the P sound. Okay. P means what in Hebrew?
Mouth.
What part? Your mouth. What can you do with your mouth?
Speak.
Speak. Scatter.
In order to speak, you got to open it. Okay. So the mouth is open, and that's what the P is. Ancient Hebrew is just a mouth. That's what it looks like. Okay. It's open. Okay. So the first part of his name is the strong mouth. Next letter is a resh. Okay. The resh. R-E-S-H. Resh. And the resh is represented by what they call a rosh. And the rosh in Hebrew is what? What part of your body? It's your head. Okay. It's the top. It's your head. Okay. Excellent. Now, that's part of his name. Okay. Let me get rid of this right quick. All right. So there's also another name that's in his name. Okay. Which confirms the idea of an ox, which is a bull. That's what this word par means. P-A-R in Hebrew. Okay. Par. Okay. Here it's called far. And far means bull. Okay. That's what it means. So you guys yourself, so you see the bull again. All right. So the first part of his name is a bull, which is an ox, which is strength and to tame. The second part of his name is the mouth to open, right? And then we have the resh, which is the head, right? And so what it means is to open the head, okay? And generally how the head is opened, not your head, but the head of the grain is opened by it being tread on, okay? So what they did was they took the sheaves of grain and they brought it, and then the bull would tread on the sheaves of grain, and it would open the head of the grain, and then the grain itself will come out, and then the chaff would be what? Thrown away. Okay, so the grain. So remember the Most High said, if you're going to speak my word, speak it with Don't you know the difference between wheat and chaff? See, so the difference is that Yah is saying that I give you food. My word is beneficial to you. Other people's words that are like chaff, which has no actual no grain, you know, it's a byproduct of it, but it's worthless. That's what the Most High is saying. He's saying that there's no benefit to the chaff, and the chaff is those who speak words that are not Yah's words. So even when you're finding somebody to learn from, if they're not talking what Yah was talking about, they're just giving you nothing but chaff, okay? Which is nothing but fluff. They're not really giving you something that you can live on, right? Because remember, man should not live on bread alone, but every word that comes out of Yah's mouth. That's why it's important for us to find the right type of teachers. So Ephraim means it's a bull that's going to open the head because he's going to tread upon it, okay? And then when you tread upon it, you reveal the seed that's inside. And so the revealing of the seed only happens by you treading on it. This is where you see the word, and which in his name is Ephraim, meaning be fruitful. It also has to do with trees too. So when you look at these two letters right here, which is the P, is the P, and the R, you get your word pear. So even in English, again, they're telling you the difference between, you know, they're using Hebrew words to give you their words. So fruit, pears are fruit, right? So you see Ephraim in there, right? Right here. The pay and the resh right here, okay? And what you got to do to eat that? You got to open your mouth, right? And once you eat it, it makes you strong. What's another word that they have? There you go, apricot. There's the pay and the resh again. So you can see Hebrew is already in the English language. They've taken it and hidden it where you can't find it unless you know it. Prune, it's another fruit. Okay, so Yaakov said to Yosef, El Shaddai appeared to me. Remember, he said this. He appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and he blessed me, saying to me, I will make you fruitful and numerous. Okay, and I will make you of a group of peoples, and I will give this land to your descendants to possess forever. The reason why I brought this scripture up again is because I'm going to explain to you the reason why he chose Ephraim. He chose Ephraim, right, by placing his right hand on his head of the younger one, which is Ephraim, and he put his left hand on Manasseh. He did it intentionally. He crossed his hands intentionally because even though Manasseh was his firstborn, he did this because he understood what Ephraim's name meant. He understood that Ephraim is going to be the one who's going to be fruitful. He understood that he is going to be the bull, the guy, he's the stronger one. He's going to be the one that's going to open up the head. He's the one who's going to do the treading. He's the one who's going to reveal the seed, okay? He's the one who's going to be fruitful and numerous. So because Yah appeared to Yaakov and told him this, when he heard of the name of his grandson, he knew this is the one that's supposed to receive the blessing. Can you guys see that? He made the connection between Ephraim because Yaakov did not name Ephraim. Joseph did. He didn't even know Ephraim before he got to Egypt. But when he met Ephraim and he found out what his son's name was, he said, I know this is the one that has to be this because he put two and two together. El Shaddai appeared to me in the land of Uz and Bethel, in the land of Canaan, and he blessed me, saying, I will make you fruitful and numerous. The only way that Yaakov is going to be fruitful and numerous is through Ephraim, because Yah is going to use Ephraim in the nations. Okay, so Yaakov, the father, knew this, right? He's been living his whole life, but he was able to put it together. So that's the wisdom that Yah gave him. And that's the reason why he put his hands on Ephraim, his right hand on Ephraim and his left hand on Manasseh. The right hand is supposed to go on Manasseh because he's the firstborn. The left hand was supposed to go on Ephraim, okay? But because of what his name is and his character and what his duty and his responsibility and what his mishmareth is going to be, his call of duty is, he's the only one fitting in order to do that. The reason why Manasseh wasn't going to be used is because he's not the one that God wanted to use. Joseph said to his father, don't do it that way, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. His father refused and said, he refused. He said, I know that, my son. I know it. He too will become a people. He too will be great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will grow into many nations. Joseph is a fruitful plant, and a fruitful plant by a spring, and with his branches climbing over the wall. This is the blessing that was given to Joseph, that he's fruitful. And the reason why he's fruitful is through Ephraim. Okay. His firstborn bull, right? This is in Deuteronomy chapter number 33, given by Moshe. His firstborn bull, glory to his, excuse me. His horns are those of a wild ox, talking about Joseph. With them he will gorge the peoples, all of them, to the ends of the earth. They are myriads of Ephraim. These are the thousands of Manasseh. So even in the blessing that Moshe gives to the children of Israel is based upon these two horns. These two horns are Ephraim and Manasseh. They're the wild ox. Those are the horns. Okay, so these two horns are Ephraim and Manasseh. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the nations. And why are they going to gorge the nations and the people? Because eventually when Yah wakes them up, they're going to be the ones who are going to be impacting the people. Because remember, they're supposed to fill the earth with thousands and myriads of them. Israel is not just a group of black people. Okay, they're all over the planet. Okay, Manasseh is the firstborn. By right, he's supposed to receive it. By right, Reuven is supposed to receive the blessing of the firstborn. He didn't. Okay, because Joseph was away from his father for that period of time of 17 years, he confers his blessing upon Ephraim because this is the way that Yah wanted it to happen. Why not Manasseh? That's the question. Why did it not give it to Manasseh? Well, it's because of Manasseh's name. Manasseh's name means to forget. That's what his name means. It means to forget. Joseph called the firstborn Manasseh, causing to forget, because Elohim has caused me to forget all my troubles I suffered at the hands of my family. So he named his son this because he wanted to forget all of his problems. He wanted to forget all of his troubles and his sufferings that he suffered at the hand of his family. The Most High doesn't want this to him, Manasseh, to be the one that Yah chose, is because Manasseh means to forget. If Manasseh was to be the one that got the blessing, then Yah would have forgotten what he said he was going to do, the SHEVA. Yah wanted to remember the SHEVA. So therefore, Most High has been telling us the whole time that I want Ephraim, because Ephraim is the one who's going to be fruitful, and he's the one who's going to be numerous. I want to remember this. That's why Yaakov remembered. He remembered the SHEVA. He said, Yah El Shaddai appeared to me and told me this. He blessed me, saying this. He remembered what Yah swore. I will make you. That is an oath. I'll make you fruitful and multiply and numerous, and I'll make a group of people. So the only way he can do that is with someone who is fruitful. And that's why Ephraim was chosen. Manasseh is not chosen because that meant that somewhere down the road, it would have been forgotten. Yah doesn't want us to forget his name. He doesn't want us to forget his promise. He doesn't want us to forget that he's going to make the children of Israel as numerous as the stars of the sky. Okay? Manasseh is not fit in order to have this blessing. Because Yah is not about forgetting. Yah is about remembering. Okay. So this is the reason why his father named him this. And as a result of that, he got overlooked because he's to forget. We're told in the Torah all the time, be careful lest you forget Yah when you prosper. Okay. Anyway, I only have a certain amount of time left for you guys. So I want to maximize and use the rest of this time to talk about family. Within your family, in your Torah portion, you found that Yaakov had several sons. He had 12 sons and he adopted 2 more. Okay, each family member in a family has to make a contribution. We all matter. Every last one of us. We have a responsibility to our father. We have a responsibility to our parents. We have a responsibility to those around us. And we all can make a contribution. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're being left out. Okay, I don't want you to feel left out because you may think that you're from one tribe and you may not be from their tribe. I don't want you to feel like you left out, even though I'm not going to talk about Asher or Naphtali or Zebulun and all those other sons. It's not that I'm leaving them out. They're not important. They are. They all have a contribution to make to the family. Okay, it's very important for us to understand this because right now, as a people, and even the foreigner, you're making a contribution to this family because you're not a foreigner anymore. You're part of the family. So, as being part of our family, okay, you and I are going to have to make contributions. Our contribution is that what we do, what we say, and how we act is very important. Our behaviors are important to this family, okay? And the idea behind it is the Most High wants us to understand what the role of leadership is, okay? Not everybody in our family is going to be a leader. No, not everybody can be. It only has to be one person, okay? That's what it is. You can't have several leaders in a family. It's not going to happen. It's only going to be one person, okay? This is the way Most High set it up. Okay. And I'm not just talking about marriage, I'm talking about family. All right. So in this family, Yaakov is about to pass away. He knows this. So what he wants to do is he knows that his sons are going to have to make a contribution to his legacy. But there's others that are in his family that are not going to be that have to be what they call censored. And there's others that he's going to have to make a decision about who's going to be picked to be the leader in the family. Okay. So the leadership in the family is important because this in particular family is not an ordinary family. This family has been given the responsibility of the Mishmaref to guard the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High, the decrees of the Holy One of Israel, the King of the universe. Okay, so this family has to operate in nobility. Their character has to have to be at the highest standards. They have to operate on the lines of in the rank of superiority. Okay, and so we're going to have to find the best in order to be our leader, right? We're people who are very distinguished. We are supposed to be set apart from all peoples on the face of the earth, because we are the chosen people. And I'm never going to apologize for that, right? Because even if you're a foreigner or a stranger, you still can join and be part of a very distinguished family. So I'm never going to downplay how distinguished this family is, okay? Now, we know that this family has been operating not as distinguished, not as noble, but it's been filthy and depraved and all these sort of things. But now we're moving out of that, and now we're moving towards understanding and accepting our mishmareth and our duty and our responsibility, which we've been appointed to, which is to be a family of nobility and to be a distinguished people. Okay, and so today we need to make some clarifications of why some people are not chosen to be the leaders, just like Manasseh wasn't chosen because simply his name is to forget, and there are people in his family did forget. You find a lot of people in the tribe of Manasseh that did some things, and none of us, of course, is perfect, but there's certain things that Yah is looking for. I'm going to begin off right quick with just talking about Reuven, which is to see his son. Reuven was Yaakov's firstborn son, okay? And he says, though superior, because he was superior in vigor and he was in power, you are unstable as water, which is not a good thing. And so your superiority will end because you climbed into your father's bed and defiled it, like Sister Pam said, and he climbed onto my concubine's couch. That's what he did, okay? So he was superior, being the firstborn, but all because you're the superior and the one that's full of vigor and because you have the power, it's not good. Water is unstable, right? And there's nothing wrong with unstable water, okay? The word to be unstable right there is not just, we all know that water is unstable. It's very fluid, it's liquid. You can't stabilize it, okay? Fluids are not stable unless you change its molecular structure and put it into ice, and then it becomes stable. But then if you expose it to heat, it becomes unstable again, so it's not stable. But what this instability here was talking about how he would just go beyond. So this instability here is that he couldn't control himself. Like water can't be controlled. Once it starts flowing, you can't stop it. He couldn't stop it. He couldn't stop himself from, desiring this woman, his father's concubine. His lust overtook him. So his sexual behaviors had caused him to lose his power. Okay. And that's something that all of us need to be aware of, is that you don't want anything, whether it's your sexual behavior, whether it's food, whatever it may be, you're going to have to, what they would call, establish some boundaries and you have to have some restraints and be able to withhold on certain things. Okay. Too much of anything is not good for us. So what we want to do is, in order to keep our superiority, in order to keep our power, we're going to have to be able to restrain ourselves. And we're going to have to be able to exercise some form of constraint. Okay. And so Reuven wasn't able to do that. And we can learn from him. Even though this is something negative about him, it's still a contribution to our family that's been beneficial to us for all of us to learn what not to do. Okay. So we're supposed to learn from him. Okay. So we can learn from the good and we can learn from the not so good. Okay. Shimon and Levi, those two are the second and third oldest. Okay. Shimon is the second, Levi's the third. It says Shimon and Levi, this is their father saying to them, you're brothers, right? Related by weapons of violence. Let me not enter to their counsel. Let my honor not be connected with their people. For in their anger they killed men. Okay, and at their whim they maimed cattle. These brothers right here were very, very cruel. Okay, when we talk about killing men, they killed innocent men. Okay, so these people are not fit. Okay, they're not fit to lead the nation. Reuven is not fit to lead the nation of Israel. Okay. They had the concept of brotherhood, so they understood what an ak was, right? They understand what an ak is, or which is a strong wall. They understood that they were united as brothers, but they were united and they understood what their power was. Okay, Reuben was uncontrollable, right? He didn't have no restraint. These in particular guys, they didn't have any restraint either. They couldn't discipline themselves. They're lacking restraint too. So it's not just I went and slept with my father's wife. They did something just as crazy and uncontrolled as well. They couldn't control their temper, right? So you're not fit to lead if you can't control your temper. Okay, you got to control your temper. The children of Israel's legacy of our father Yaakov, which his name is Israel, is not going to be contingent upon our violence. So you should know that the war that's going over on in Palestine right now is not really of the Most High. The way that they're killing innocent people, because they killed innocent people and is frowned upon by their father. They did weapons of violence, which you can see right now is going on right now. But the idea of brotherhood, they had that on order, but and they knew that power that they had, but they were using their power of brotherhood to commit violence. Okay, so violence, death, harm, all these types of things is not supposed to be part of our father Yisrael's legacy. Okay, and so as his children and descendants from him, we can't practice these things. Okay, if you're practicing violence in your home, you're not fit to lead. You're not fit to lead if you're violent. You're not lit. I don't care. You're not fit to lead. And I'm not talking about just the men. I'm talking about the women as well. Okay. If you feel like you got to raise your voice at somebody and you got to scream curse words at them and all that kind of stuff, you're not in any position to be a leader. We got to watch ourselves. Okay. He said, I don't want to enter the council, meaning don't let my spirit of who I am and what I stand for and what I represent. Remember about he told Ephraim and Manasseh or their father that I want them to remember what I stood for, or my father stood for. They weren't, Abraham and Yitzchak and them, they were very peaceful men. Okay. They weren't people who used violence as a means to get what they want. These guys right here were uncontrollable. Okay. So they killed innocent people. They maimed animals. They were just very cruel. And so he said that he wanted them to be dispersed within the family of Israel. And these two individuals should not be together because they're not good. But we can learn from them. They're beneficial to us because we learn from them. And of course, there's more to add to that, but we only have time to talk about Yehuda. Yehuda is known as being praised. Okay, Yehuda, your brothers will praise you. So now he has both what Reuven lacked, and he also has what the Shimon, and Levi had. Okay, so Yehuda still had this idea of brotherhood. Okay, he had the ability to bring people together, like Shimon and Levi. They came together; they were connected in that way, but they used it for that which is evil. Okay, but Yehuda's different. He was able to bring the family together to approach Yosef. He was able to bring Benjamin back to his father. He was able to negotiate with Yosef and tell him the truthful. He realized that he was the unrighteous one when he was dealing with his daughter-in-law. He understood that he had some whore-like tendencies within him, and he was ashamed for what he did. He was a man who had learned that he had given his word, which is his SHEVA. He gave his SHEVA, and he broke his promise to Tamar. He said, "I'll give you my son." He broke his SHEVA. He broke his word, and that's what being a whore is like. A whore is a wife who decided to, and you don't have to go out there and sell your body, because Yah talks about Israel as being a whore, and she never sold herself. She would actually pay other people to have sex with her. So he's saying that a SHEVA is, if you make a promise or an oath, you should be able to keep it. If you're not, you're being a whore. That's what he's literally telling us. Okay. So, and of course, I got a whole bunch of scriptures to go with that. I just don't have time to go through it. Okay. And that's for both men and women. Right. So Yah is saying you guys can't have this attitude of a whore. You can't have this attitude of breaking your promise, something that you said, because your word is what stands with me. Okay. If you break your promise, that means you broke my covenant. You broke my Safa, you broke my Berith, you broke everything. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to be people of brotherhood. I want you to be people of promise. I want you to be people of your word. I want you to keep your oaths. I want you to swear by my name. I don't want you to swear by anybody else's name. I want you to love the widow, the stranger, and the fatherless. And so he chose Yehuda because Yehuda had both what Reuven lacked and also what Shimon and Levi lacked. Okay. So he wasn't going to operate out of violence, even though his hand is on the neck of his enemies. That right there means that he's not going after people that are innocent. He's only going to suppress and, not oppress. He's going to suppress those who are coming against him. He's going to prevail over his enemies. And he's going to do it in such a way that war is not always going to be his deal. It's not going to be. It's just how he positions himself and how he carries himself that lets people know that, like, okay, if we get into it with him, it's going to be a problem, right? And so that's how we want to present ourselves too. You don't want people to be afraid of you. What you want them to do is you want them to respect you, okay? And even your enemies will have respect for you if they know that you have power, okay? The power that you have is what's in your hand. Your hand is your work, okay? So what he's talking about is the things that you do with your hand, your work, and your work is your life, right? And so we see our Torah portion is about the life and he lived. And so the Most High is really concerned about how we live our lives, right? And so we don't live our lives by violence. We don't live our lives without restraint, and we don't live our lives by going overboard, okay? We live our lives in a very controlled way, okay? And so this is what Yehuda was. He was very controlled. Yeah, his name is praise, right? It means to praise. Your brothers are going to praise you. In the English, it said they're going to acknowledge you. They're going to give him praise because of his position, right? And they're going to bow down to you. Your father's sons are going to bow down to you before you. And so is it they're going to bow down before Yehuda? Yeah, they did. They were praising him because he's the one who was able to stand up in the face of adversity and accept the challenges and be able to have the courage to make the changes that he needed to make in order for his family to continue. Yehuda is a lion's cub, okay? This is what Yaakov is saying about his son. He said, Yehuda is a lion's cub. Just briefly, right quick, I want to let you know that, Yaakov talks about Yehuda being a lion's cub. He talks about Benjamin as being what? What is Benjamin? What did he say he was? He said he's a wolf. And he called one of his other sons, he called Dan a what? He said Dan was a what? He's a viper, he's a snake. Okay? So he's using these illustrations and these animals to talk about their character. Okay? He didn't say that about Asher. He didn't say that about Naphtali. He didn't say that about Zevulun, right? But he says Zevulun is going to be like a shipyard. Okay? So he's giving all these different illustrations. So we know that back in biblical times, they had ships. How would he talk about you're going to be like a ship and they didn't have any ships? Okay. So, but also too, I want to keep in mind that when he's giving these so-called blessings out, your blessing can also be what they would call a rebuke, because he rebuked Reuven, he rebuked Shimon and Levi. It is a blessing sometimes to find out from your father or your mother about what your problem is so you can make some adjustments. And so you can, not that you're always going to be like this, but once you learn from the mistakes you've made, okay? So Yehuda is a lion's cub. He said, my son, you stand over the prey. You've taken a position, a very prominent position over your prey, the enemy. He crouches down and he stretches like a lion. Like a lion. Who dares to provoke him? Meaning his enemies. His enemies are not going to provoke him because they know they're going to have problems with him. And it's because of who he is and how he carries himself. So in a very regal and a very noble way, he's carrying himself just like a lion, okay? It said the dread of a king is like when a lion roars. This is in Proverbs chapter number, I think, 10. It says, he who makes him angry commits a life-threatening sin. Meaning, like, the way that a king or a leader sits in their place like a lion, if you say the wrong thing, it can be your life. Yah's telling us this because even in our Torah portion or Haftarah, it mentions Shalomo as a king. And one of the things that Shalomo had to do as a king, his father told him, when I die, I want you to take care of business. I want, you know what to do with the guy who talked crazy to me, Shimei. I want you to, what you need to do to him. I want you to take care of Yoav, my commander. I want you to take care of him. I want you to take care of, I say Shimei. I don't know how to spell his name. I want you to get rid of him, right? You know what to do to him. I want you to remember these other people who did me right, right? So David is giving his son a list of all the people that I want you to remember to take care of. So in those instances, he gave out some instructions and certain people listened to him and other people didn't, and they made him angry and he ended up killing them. That's part of life. Death is part of life. So you got to be careful what comes out your mouth, right? So if this is being an example of the dread of a king is like a lion and roars, the Most High is like a lion, right? In a sense that he says, if you make me angry, right, you're going to say something, I'm going to have to kill you for it. That's just what it is. So our Elohim is not, he's not he's not a lion, but he created the lion. So you I should know that it's like me and you going into a zoo right quick and just walking up on a lion and just talking and making fun of it and poking it. What do you think is going to happen to you? You're going to get killed. Okay, same thing with a king. The scepter will not pass from Yehuda, meaning the leadership, meaning the staff, nor the decrees from between his legs. The decrees between his legs is literally talking about his descendants. The scepter is the staff which he is ruling by. In my research, I found out that this staff is actually what the tip of it is writing the decrees, right? This is what the staff is using. He'll use that same staff that he has as the scepter. He'll turn around and use the point of the scepter, because the scepter, I don't know, I can't draw, but it had a point on it, and he would use that to write on, right? To write with. They would put this part in the ink, and then they would write it. They would write out those decrees with it. And so it says between his legs, meaning that there are always going to be regulations that are going to come from him. And as you know, David wrote a lot of laws, right? That were added to the Torah, which is, the laws of the Leviim, singing before the Most High. He set up different orders. His sons were recognized as Kohanim. He did a lot of different things. And so the Most High never corrected him. He was doing everything for the benefit of the Most High. He says, until he comes to whom to whom it belongs. And it is he whom the people will obey. This is making a reference to a king that was supposed to come out of the line of Yehuda, because he's the one who is fit for leadership, who's supposed to come, okay? And so here we see that these decrees are found in Yehuda. That's who is going to be found. And this is the family or the tribe in which is the family the Most High has chosen. When you look at his name carefully, what you're going to see is there's a bunch of letters that are being used right there, right? Yehuda, this is his name. Somebody tell me whose name is in Yehuda's name.
YHWH.
There it is. It's right there. YHWH is in Yehuda's name. Right here. Yod. Oh. Yod, He, Wah, He. That's Yah's name. Right there. Okay. This is the letter that's added. Okay. To Yehuda. Okay. So we know this means praise. It also means confession. Okay. A whole bunch of stuff it means. Okay. You got the hand right here. Okay. You have to look. Okay. You have to mean connect, and then you have here the door. Okay. And then here to look. So literally what he's telling us is, I want you to see the hand is going to point you to look and it's going to show you the door. Okay. So the door is going to always be the tabernacle, because that's what the door is. Okay. The door is the tabernacle, but also means the door is attached to what they call a house. Okay. So again, you guys heard me teach on this before. It means Dawid. The Most High's house is Dawid. That's his house to house, because that's Dawid. Dawid's name is the door. And here it means or, okay. And then this one here is the door as well. And so the door is connected to a house. Okay. The first house over here is the house of Yisrael. And this is the house of Judah. Or just say Yehuda. Okay. So Dawid is adding both of these houses together. That's what we learned last week too. Okay. House to house. The Most High is bringing out of the house and out of the line of Yehuda a king, someone who is going to come and the people are going to obey him. Okay. And that's pretty much going to be your lesson for today. I'll say Shabbat Shalom. I did get it done in a timely fashion, enough for us to do our cahoots. Is there anyone who has any contributions or questions?
it's really interesting that I mean we didn't get to hear all the animals related to the 12 sons, but it's really interesting since I just got back from Serengeti to see
Oh yeah,
some
tell us
of
a
these
little bit about that. Tell us-
creature or the animal kingdoms related to the 12 sons is really fascinating.
Yes, you just got back from Africa, right?
Yeah, East Africa, Serengeti Tanzania.
Ah, yeah.
I was there at Serengeti National Park for 4 days, and it was just amazing to see the whole process where the tall animals will eat the tree leaves or trees, and the water buffaloes will not a water buffalo. The giraffes will eat the second the different levels of the system of the grass. It's like they have their own jobs to eat what plants to eat and how tall the grasses are. It's just fascinating. And
Wow.
it says they will leave humans alone as long as we don't feed them or tease them. They'll leave us alone. But as soon as we do, then they will kill us. Like one of the, I think it was a European guy that was teasing the lions and he was killed last year. And so
Wow.
as long as we leave them alone, they'll leave us alone. But the lion is one of the 5 the strongest animals in Serengeti. So it was really interesting. It was the cheetah, lions, elephants, water buffalo, and rhino are the most powerful animals there. I
Wow.
thought it was like alligators or leopards, but no, those were the 5. So I learned so much from these animals. And how you don't even need to clean any because there are animals that clean the dead animals too. It's fascinating. So beautiful.
Wow. So what you just said about the lion, right, goes kind of like hand in hand with our study. That's awesome. Yeah, if you poke or tease, it's over, right? So Most High is letting us know, like, don't do this, right?
Yeah, like the Yehuda, leave them alone.
Better leave them alone.
What I learned from this lesson is like, whoa.
Yeah, you got real life experience right there. Okay, so thank you for that. Um, anyone else before we get started on our cahoots? And our cahoots is just to kind of review things, to keep us all online with everything and to make you really sharp in the Torah. You can stop the recording, Lucas. Thank you.